Get ready for liftoff with SpaceX's new Starship booster. The next generation vehicle is packed with improvements from upgraded Raptor engines to cryogenic proof testing. Join us as we dive into all the exciting updates and advancements that SpaceX is making towards making space travel a reality. Buckle up and let's go. Many of you are aware, SpaceX has been working on the Starship for several years, focusing on key areas such as Raptor rocket engines and the transfer and storage of liquid oxygen and methane propellant in orbit, as well as Starship prototypes and boosters. If you're not up to date on this, we have several videos, so be sure to check those out. We'll leave links in the description. First, let's start with the Raptor engine. The Raptor engine is a critical component to orbit inside the Starship. The astronauts could be in danger if the engines fail. SpaceX has been rapidly developing the Raptor engine, with the goal of producing 7 engines per week. Raptor 1.0 has already been upgraded to Raptor 2.0, which came with an increase of performance and thrust while decreasing the number of parts, resulting in a faster manufacturing and testing process. The Raptor 2 engine produces around 510 pounds of thrust, which is comparable to the thrust produced by NASA's Space Launch System RS-25 engine. In addition to these enhancements, SpaceX's Raptor 2.0 engine is now a full-flow staged combustion cycle or FFSCC engine, and it runs on super-chilled liquid oxygen and super-chilled liquid methane. The FFSCC cycle maximizes the impulse produced by a given amount of propellant, making it a good choice for rocket engines. One of the key improvements of the Raptor 2.0 upgrade was the simplification of the engine's design. The numerous development sensors and valves required to track pressure and temperature throughout the engine's plumbing gave Raptor 1.0 a Christmas tree appearance. Raptor 2.0, on the other hand, has a much cleaner appearance with many of these components removed. This simplification not only makes the engine more flame and heat resistant, but it also aligns with SpaceX's goal of removing all engine shrouding from the booster, which reduces its mass by approximately 6 metric tons. The removal of the torch igniters in the main combustion chamber is another improvement made in Raptor 2.0. Rather than relying on redundant torch igniters, the well-mixed hot oxygen and hot methane gas act hypergolic under the high temperature and pressure of the main combustion chamber, obviating the need for igniters. This modification not only reduces engine weight, but it also simplifies the manufacturing process. SpaceX is currently testing the Raptor 2 engine and has completed several static fire tests successfully, with more testing planned in the near future. The most recent test involves fully loading the booster with liquid oxygen and testing the autogenous pressurization system. Autogenous pressurization is a method of pressurizing the vehicle's tanks using a gaseous propellant, eliminating the need for a separate pressurization system that would use an inert gas like helium to keep the tanks at flight pressure. This is a significant advancement because it reduces the booster's complexity and mass, making it more efficient and capable of reaching higher altitude. In addition to testing the Raptor 2 engine, SpaceX has been working on Starship prototype development, with the focus on 2 specific prototypes: Starship SN-24 with Booster 7 and Starship SN-25 with Booster 9. Both of these prototypes have been thoroughly tested and have made significant progress in development. The Starship SN-24 and Booster 7 prototypes have been tested at SpaceX's Boca Chica facility in Texas. The SN-24 prototype is an updated version of the company's previous Starship prototypes, with several design changes intended to improve performance and reliability. The modifications include a new heat shield design to better protect the spacecraft during re-entry and a redesigned nose cone to be more aerodynamic. The Booster 7 prototype, on the other hand, is an entirely new design, created specifically to support the Starship SN-24. The prototype Booster 7 is designed to lift the Starship SN-24 to an altitude of about 50,000 feet, after which it will separate from the booster and continue its journey to orbit on its own. Aside from these design changes, SpaceX is also experimenting with a new type of fuel for the Booster 7 prototype. The company is testing liquid methane and liquid oxygen as rocket fuel, and they believe it will be more efficient and easier to store than traditional kerosene-based fuels used in most rockets. SpaceX also has prioritized the Starship SN-25 and Booster 9 in recent months. The Booster 9 prototype recently underwent a cryogenic proof test, which involved filling its tank with liquid nitrogen to test its structural integrity and detect any leaks. The prototype also includes design changes such as the use of Raptor 2 engines with electric thrust vector control hardware, which should make the engine easier to manufacture and even lighter. The inclusion of a thrust section to isolate the engines from one another is one of the major improvements of the Booster 9 prototype. This is an important feature because it allows the engines to operate independently, preventing the failure of one engine from causing damage to the others. This is a massive step forward for the booster. Why, you might ask? Well, it increases its dependability and makes it more resistant to issues that could impair its performance. The Booster 9 prototype is also set to include a number of enhancements that not only improve its performance, but also help to lower its cost. One of these improvements is the addition of new fuel management systems, which help to better control the flow of fuel to engines and ensure optimal performance. The Booster 9 prototype will also feature redesigned pressurization systems, which will help to maintain the correct pressure within fuel tanks to ensure the vehicle is operating at its best. The Booster 9 is still being tested and developed, as with any new prototype. However, the progress made so far is very encouraging. It implies that the booster is well on its way to becoming a dependable and cost-effective option for space launches. Aside from the Starship and its engines, SpaceX is also working on developing its Lunar Lander Human Landing System, or the HLS, as part of NASA's Artemis program. This fancy gadget will be used to transport astronauts from the moon's surface into orbit. The HLS will consist of two main components: an ascent vehicle, which will carry astronauts from the lunar surface back to lunar orbit, and a descent vehicle, which will transport them from lunar orbit to the surface and back. One of the key features of the HLS is that it's meant to be reusable, with the ability to land and take off from the lunar surface multiple times. One of the many benefits of the SpaceX's HLS is its use of in situ resource utilization, or ISRU, which involves utilizing resources available on the moon to support human exploration. For instance, the HLS will be powered by solar panels and will produce oxygen for the astronauts to breathe using locally sourced lunar water. This will allow the spacecraft to spend more time on the moon and reduce the amount of supplies that have to be brought from Earth. Another advantage of the HLS is the ability to land vertically, which will make landing on the moon's surface much easier. To ensure a smooth and precise landing, the spacecraft is outfitted with powerful engines as well as advanced guidance and navigation systems. But SpaceX has faced significant regulatory and logistical challenges to developing the HLS. To conduct HLS tests and demonstrations, the company had to navigate a complex regulatory environment just to obtain the necessary approvals and permits. Despite all of the challenges, SpaceX has made significant progress on the HLS, with focus on development of cryogenic propellant transfer and storage in orbit. The HLS will require these capabilities because it needs to refuel in orbit before continuing on to the moon. SpaceX intends to conduct a series of in-space propellant transfer tests in the coming months to demonstrate this capability. Overall, SpaceX's progress on the Raptor 2 engine, the Starship and its prototypes, and the HLS represents a massive step forward in the company's efforts to land humans on the moon and establish a permanent presence on other planets. SpaceX is well on its way to meeting those lofty targets thanks to the successful development and testing of these critical components. We hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe, like the video, and watch these ones as well.